In a letter read by his lawyer, Alutha said he feels shameful for what he has done and regrets his actions. He says he was possessed by evil spirits. Alutha apologized, saying he is unable to sleep at night as he sees the gruesome act he did every time he closes his eyes.
And I know that I have caused a massive impact and a lot of pain to Nosicelo Mtebeni's family and to the community. I really regret my action and sincerely apologize to Nosicelo family, and I really can't imagine what the family is going through.
Nosicelo Mtebeni rejected the
Hi, Dumelang. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. To those who have been here before, welcome back to our space. Those who are new here, this is True Crime with StonedQ, where we report on South African cases, usually the under-the-radar cases that do not have a lot of coverage, especially in the queer community. However, we thought, being that the academic year is beginning in South Africa, let us give a little bit of coverage to these cases that have been famous and have been widely reported. But yeah, maybe somebody has not seen this, and maybe from this mouthpiece that would be in your box of little red flags that we should look out for, especially when we are feeling that we are young adults and gaining independence and moving away from home. So for today's case, and in all our cases, I'd like to give this little disclaimer that yes, let us just be kind in the comment section. Let us remember to be respectful. These are real people. These are real cases. This is true crime, and it's so close to home. It is in South Africa. So yeah, it might be somebody that you know or somebody that knows somebody. So let us be kind in the comment section, especially for the remaining family members, for both the perpetrator as well as the victim, especially the victim. And for today's case, this should be episode 15. We're going to be speaking on the case of Nosicelo Mtebeni, who was a victim to Alutha Pasile. So content warnings, this is a very gruesome one, a very painful one, quite fresh as well, because this happened in 2021. So if you are really trigger and prone to not respond very well to the mention or speaking of GBV, this case will have a lot of GBV. There will be also the dismembering of body parts being mentioned and beheading. And yeah, it is quite a violent and gruesome and painful case. So if this is not your cup of tea, please go check out our other space where we do spirituality, especially from an African perspective, and deal with mainly the African calendar on StonedQ. Yes, so please go check that out. It is a bit light. So before we waste any more time, let us get into today's case. And hopefully it will be short, but it will be an eye-opener for somebody or somebodies out there. Our case begins in 1998 on the 13th of April, where Nosicelo, our fallen queen, was born to parents Ntombi Zandile, as well as father Kolisile Mtebeni. And unfortunately, when she was turning age 4, the parents decided on a mutual separation. And her dad decided, you know what, I'm going to go back to my homeland. So the father and mother both decided that, you know what, I think daddy should raise Nosicelo, and the father left the Gauteng province and went to the Eastern Cape, Komatatiele, where the father was the primary caregiver of Nosicelo and decided, I'm going to raise Lentombi yami, because yes, mostly with girl children, Itlobaba Nababo Dedi, and the dad decided, this is my star child and I'm going to take the reins and raise this child. So at that time, the mother was unemployed, and I think at the time where she unfortunately lost her life, the mother was still unemployed. Not a lot of reporting has mentioned what happened in between those periods, because yes, she was 23 years old, which was still quite young when she lost her life. And the dad primarily Bekapanda man, he was reported as a street hawker, but Nelimpandis, but he made sure he was a dad. He made sure that, I'm gonna provide for my child. So that is why I feel Uno Taylor also took a bit of on her shoulders when she decided, this is the life that I'm gonna live. I'm gonna take my family out of poverty. So she also had siblings, which were brothers, and yeah, the names are not given, and for privacy we're not going to go digging into who the brothers were, how they're dealing with these things. We can't just imagine, because it's so gruesome, it is so painful, that they did not take it easy as well, and especially with brothers, they tend to be very protective over their sisters. However, from the age of 4, Ntate Kolisile was the primary caregiver, and she started a schooling career at Naledi Junior School, where she flew through primary school with beautiful marks. No grades were repeated there, and she went off to Tolang Secondary School, where she matriculated in 2016. And the father was like, you know what? We do not have money or anything at all. And that was the year where they heard from NEFSAS, which is the funding aid that we have in South Africa, where it assists with some sort of like a loan scheme. It's not a bursary because you need to pay it back. So it's sort of a loan scheme where it's going to see you through your schooling years, your accommodation is sorted, your food situation is sorted, and I think you get a little bit of pocket money. She started for the University of Fort Hare, one of the big universities we have in South Africa, and a university that our former and late president Nelson Mandela had a stint at studying from as well. When she got there, she was the type of people where she was a little bit reserved, but once she gets to know you, and once she gets, and she steps into her comfortable space, she's very outspoken, because it was also reported while she was still at Fort Hare, she was a member of a group of girls who decided, they're going to be activists, because they would see it's so unfortunate that at very young ages, you get to be involved in activism, especially in the most in things that, man, you should not be robbed of your childhood. But yes, they were involved in activism in terms of GBV, in terms of activism for children and women, because our country is unfortunately quite a scary one. We're ranking high, ka dilo tsa snacks, and yeah, it's really, you literally sit and think, yo, am I next? So we've had different campaigns, and I'm not too sure. I wonder, I feel maybe also spiritualists need to get involved, or people who understand how energy works. Are we actually doing activism in the correct manner? Because it seems that when it's time for, or the months that we commemorate either women, or we commemorate ending these injustices that happen to women, that is where now this increase of these cases would happen. So yeah, I don't know what I would need to look at this from. But anyway, she was admitted go Fort Hare to study law. And yeah, when the memorial service and everything was happening, they were saying how, we got robbed of a, a potential prosecutor, a potential judge in these cases, or somebody who was gonna be probably a light to the madness that is happening in our country. But she was a star student, made sure that she was also inspiring her friends that, re ka jaiva, re tseng, re tseng, even after a night out, she'd make sure that, watch for me, even if you just go through a chapter a day, so that she stays on par. And this is one of the things that her friends would remember her so fondly for, that, she's not the type of people that wanted to shine on their own, or to make it out, in record time on their own, but would inspire and encourage her group of friends to also, let's stay on par with academics. There were a bunch of girls who liked looking pretty, at the clubs, they did the normal youthful student things, they go out, we go out for drinks, whatever it is that we got, even though we're going to look pretty outside, but let our academics also look pretty. So yes, due to this thing, she never repeated any years or had any modules that stopped her from progressing to the next year. So she was literally going to finish her LLB in record time. So her friends also noticed a change in 2019. So she met this guy who, yeah, they thought, because yeah, I think in a lot of cases that we speak of, or if you had the privilege of going to varsity, you'd hear things like, no, you meet your sweetheart for university. And now that I'm on the other side of 30, I feel, yo, you know what, we don't have business actually talking of marriage and stability, and at that age, because I feel also even at the age of 25, you're a tad bit young. But it does work for some people. They meet the love of their lives in varsity and they get married. I do have also family members who met their people like straight out of varsity, let's get married, and it works. But yeah, I have a different opinion now that I'm on the other side of things. And yeah, to those who knew him, they spoke about him that no, he was so soft spoken. He was nobody said he's a weirdo or anything, but he was soft spoken, also reserved, didn't have a lot of he didn't have a big social circle, he was somebody who kept to himself, would immerse himself in music, would immerse himself in like things that are a bit more, to do with self, excuse me. So at the time that they met, this was in 2019 on the 23rd of January, so the beginning of another academic year. Anyway, so they meet in 2019, and yeah, because she had NSFAS funding, she could afford to have maybe private accommodation if it's not a residence or campus or these off-campus residents, So that year, Alutha Yena, his parents, so he was also from the Eastern Cape, and he matriculated from Butcherland, I think it's called. Yeah, but it was a technical high school. So he was also quite a bright student, because he also went to Fort Hare. So he was a Fort Hare alumni. I'm not gonna go into what it is he studied because it's not really relevant for this case. Yeah, not that we're gonna judge people by what they study, whatever it is. But yeah, at the time of their meeting, he had like little odd jobs. He worked as a bouncer because he was quite a big guy. He was a giant, which yeah, I'm gonna touch on when we're progressing with our case here. But yeah, he worked as a bouncer at one of the clubs there in East London. And then also he had a part-time gig where he was selling insurance as well, just to make ends meet. And I think we sidestep this thing, but yeah, man, money just makes things easier, especially in a relationship setting. I'm not saying hey, in the must or cherry must or whatever it is. I'm just saying it does tend to make things easier, and especially if we're saying we want to build something. And unfortunately, in the capitalist world that we're living in, go bua tjhelete, anyway. So she decided, since my person and I, we're gonna, it's a fairly new relationship, and yeah, my year is starting, let us maybe cohabit, let us keep it there, and at times it automatically happens where you guys just visit each other, but it's so elongated that you might as well live together instead of paying two sets of rent, and yeah, most of us have done it. Go varsity, a mommy or whoever's paying rent ya gago here, but you go live with your friend or lover, whatever it is, or they come live by you or whatever it is, and then you decide, no, what, this doesn't make sense. Let us rather use this money for something else. But anyway, we decided to go a commune. So a commune is like shared accommodation where you have your privacy is your bedroom, but you share like common areas like a swimming pool, the yard, kitchen, bathroom, living area, but yeah, your privacy iko kamaring ya gago. So this was a 10-bedroomed commune. I think it was also sponsored by NAFSAs, or yeah, I'm not too sure how NAFSAs work because I was not a beneficiary thereof. But I'm not sure if they give you a lump sum or it needs to be the university needs to agree that no, this is a NAFSAs funded. I'm not too sure how it works. But anyway, she decided, I'm gonna pitch in Garente. And yeah, they lived for this commune in a town they call East London called Quickney. For those who are familiar with Quickney, yeah, we're gonna speak of the spot where this crime scene was also a sort of began or sort of put the Bunsen burner to the case. Anyway, so Oko Quickney lived in this commune here, and yeah, all was good, until the friends also started noticing Horaman, that Umgani is not herself anymore. So even though they'd go visit other people, got the same commune, and she would hear their voices, she wouldn't come out of her room. So she started becoming a little bit secluded, nyana, and all this time she's spending with her boyfriend and all of that. So the friends were a bit concerned, especially knowing the kind of person that she was, that she loved her friend group, like I love my friend group. She loved hanging with her friends, spending time with her friends, so she wasn't going out with them anymore. And they thought, you know what, yeah, sometimes you're happy, your friends got a person, let them enjoy the space that they created for themselves, But anyway, the change was noticed and it was not spoken about. I guess, and what do you say though in this kind of situation? So yeah, Alutha was a bit controlling, and it's yeah, it's weird that we as a friends would actually see the red flags somewhat, versus when you would. But yeah, like I mentioned at the beginning here, that yeah, she also was involved in a little bit of activism on campus. And yeah, she wasn't spending as much time there anymore. But at the time of her passing, they were working on a campaign called An Open Letter to Men. And it's so unfortunate. And yeah, we don't want to hear not all, because I think at this point that we are at right now, we do understand what we mean. And when we doing these hashtags, we do understand. And like I always say, Hore, Harreta statistics, we don't take everything. We take a sample space, a sample, yeah, a little sample, just to deduce a behavior for the rest of a whatever it is that we are studying at that place. So we don't want to hear not all. We don't want to hear victim blaming as well. So remember my little plea there in the beginning, that comment section, let us just be kind, please. Okay. So anyway, Nosicelo decided, what, this was in August, which is Women's Month that we celebrate or commemorate. Yeah, not celebrate. There's not much to celebrate. Well, there is stuff to celebrate. We do celebrate, actually. We celebrate Women's Month in South Africa. It's unfortunately marred by the occurrences that happened during that month. Anyway, so she decided, it's out in Jobonutata. And she went home, for a couple of weeks, for about 2 weeks. She was home, and it was nice, grounding and recharging, being on the farm with daddy, chickens, waking up to chickens or whatever it is, her homeland wise, and yeah, to resettle into herself. Because I think she was also noticing that, it's the dynamic of my relationship is changing. So this was literally 2 years later, right? So because I started dating in Jan of 2019. So this is now in 2021, where now the relationship is happening. She's doing her final year in LLB, and Njengenjwayelo, she's doing well. She's performing well academically. So she goes home in August, beginning of August. So this is just before, yeah, for about a week or 2 weeks there. So this is just before Women's Month begins. And yeah, when she comes back from home, now, yeah, I don't know how I feel now. Maybe we'll have it on my other platform where we're talking about this whole relationship dynamic of privacy in a relationship, or yeah, this whole going through people's phones and stuff like that. Yeah, I don't know. I'm two ways about this whole thing. But anyway, so this guy notices, this girl's a bit cagey with her phone now. Password has changed or whatever it is. And so that obviously is gonna raise a red flag. But in the same light, man, you do not have a right. It's a privilege if somebody agrees or allows you to touch their phone or go through their phone. Yeah, which is, but for me, it's maybe you need to look into yourself, and if you're getting at a point where a relationship is making you feel that way, maybe just analyze things a little bit. I'm not saying get out or whatever it is. For some people, cheating is not a deal breaker, but for most people, yeah, and for some people, that is where they draw their boundary. So he notices Jorge Ayman, it's again baby phone ya gagwe, she's a bit cagey. And yeah, in the report and in the confession that he made, he said, this was on the 17th of August, where she decided, I'm going to go back to my place. So she left home, she left Matatiele, and she went to Quigney. And yeah, they were watching movies, having a couple of drinks, here and there. And that night, sneaky, I don't want to use certain terms until I've studied the psychology that I say I want to study. But yeah, it's for me it's a little bit scary. Okay, I need to wait for you to go to sleep to, yeah, do these things. But anyway, she goes to sleep. So this is now in the night of the 17th. They go to bed, and they have, before going to bed, actually, they have a fight. And I also don't know how I feel about this thing of we need to mind our own business. I don't know how I feel about that, especially when we're witnessing like a violent situation. Yeah, probably that would be my end, because I mean, I wasn't getting, if it's not yeah, if I don't see that it's dangerous at that point. But anyway, so they have a fight, and the rest of the people in the commune decided, I no, we're gonna mind our business, because it was also quite a common occurrence where they'd have these fallouts. And yeah, so they decided to mind their business that night. They heard a bit of commotion. And something very disturbing for me is this part though, where, yeah, I don't know if you guys travel with knives. I don't know, maybe can Naki sitting behind, but yeah, he now stabs this girl with a knife in this commotion. No, before that. Sorry. Sequence of events. So anyway, they sleep before the commotion happens. But they had a little bit of an argument because girl nasabatlika phone ya gagwe, and she thought, okay, he understood atibatlika phone ya gagwe. Yeah. But anyway, they go to bed, and while this girl's sleeping, while Nostrada's sleeping, it decides to snoop now. So he bumps into messages actually. Yeah, this one is not widely reported, but he finds messages from 2019, Nibo, I love you, I miss you, and only to find out that those messages were from him. But the thing that raised a flag for him, yeah, that raised the flag for him was apparently those pictures there and messaging, you know, the content of the messages does not confirm Hore Ukel was cheating or whatever it was, but apparently there was a gentleman she was talking to, maybe the talking stages. But even if, guys, Nali another relationship or beginning another relationship, this is where I feel maybe as parents we need to learn and instill in our children that no, highly more. And if you said this is your deal breaker, you need to walk away, because you're not entitled to beating up somebody. You're not entitled to making somebody, if somebody doesn't love you anymore, walk away, walk away, give them the space to explore whatever it is that feel you need to love somebody enough to give them um, something that they feel is working for them. Let them go explore that thing. Love somebody enough to want them to still experience this love that you say you have for them. When you a minute that you're controlling somebody, that's not love anymore. And I don't know if it's a self work thing, but for us who are raising people and our nieces and nephews and whoever, let us instill that, because it is another form of loving yourself. Respect yourself enough to respect those boundaries for let somebody have what they feel that they need to have. But anyway, so he felt so entitled to Nostrelo having a potential relationship that, at Obatla, you are mine, how dare you. So yeah, I don't know if you guys have been woken up from sleep mode, and somebody's waking you up. That drama, like, why, like, address these things with me when I'm up. Anyway, they wake up, commotion happens, and yeah, mind the business here, but also maybe in their defense, kiri hours, and also was a common occurrence. We don't know, common occurrence. And then, yeah, I guess everybody minded their business. But he started stabbing this girl, started stabbing Nostrela. And in that stabbing, she's defending herself and just warding off these ninja moves that this guy is putting on her. And when he saw that was happening, that's when he pushes her. So this was actually what unalived her. So he pushes her, and she hit the back of her head, and apparently her neck snapped a little bit. And that's when he noticed that she had lost her life. So I don't know, check pulse or ing, but maybe had he taken precautions at that time, call paramedics, ask for help, maybe would be speaking something differently. But he was so in so much rage that there was no sanity that was coming to him then. Stop, because yeah, man, hey man, let's my gosh. Anyway, so in that state, in his panic, I guess when the adrenaline is wearing off, he sleeps through the night with this dead body, sleeps through the night, and then the next day, or in those wee hours, that's when now he's Googling. You see, so I have a problem with him starting from here now. I could empathize and beyond some, oh, he was raised in a Christian home. Oh my gosh, he couldn't hit a fly. That line, we need to look into that line and maybe add it in our box of red flags, because in a lot of these things where people have said he wouldn't hit a fly or an ant and whatnot. Okay, why wouldn't you? It is a pest after all. Have you seen how annoying flies are? But yeah, in cases where people say he wouldn't hurt a fly, is cases where they've done the worst. They have done the worst. But no disrespect to flies. You deserve your life too. Whatever. But anyway, so he Googles now, goes on the internet, he Googles and makes a phone call to one of his homies on some, or people that he knew. Yeah, because yeah, he was quite of a loner. What am I? Can you borrow me a saw? Okay. I have tools, but I have miniature tools. I have a drill so that I can put my pictures up, but I don't have like the saw and stuff. I don't know. Maybe regular people have saws. I don't know. I do not have a saw. But anyway, I found a home. I batla go dira ka something. I want to handle something. So at that moment, this is where now no style is just a thing. Rabo. And na ke na le jive at this point now. Anyway, so he Googles and this is why he wanted a saw. He Googles how to get rid of an unalived body. So obviously the internet, there is the dark web where yeah, nna ke blame makgowa still. There's the dark web where yeah, you get information on such things. You know, when people find you need to dissolve a body cancer, so or buy chlorophyll for this and that. Yeah, this is part of the dark web, but unfortunately Google cannot control. Cybersecurity is not that tight because you can still find such articles on a regular Google. You know, you don't have to go for the back ends or use a VPN to access the dark web. But anyway, he finds this information, and this is where now the next day, Kidi 18, right? He still has this unalive body. So I don't know decomposition your body in how long, and it's a thing I really do not want to find out. I do not want to work in criminology at any point of my life. I do not want to. I just want to understand the mind. Yeah, that's where I'm at. But anyway, he goes to the local hardware store. I told her all these things. Crime kits, serial psycho kit. I told her on I because the person on the phone did not have this thing. And then also, what does he goes to a local store where he can find incense. So it's probably like of Eastern Orient origin. So I already the incense, you know. So because I think the body was now starting to decompose. Anyway, so I don't know. He goes and buys a local store because this gentleman was also interviewed when this investigation was happening. Utlile tlo reka the incense, wabo. Aye, and then what happens? Yeah, local hardware store. He buys this equipment and all of that, and then he goes to drug dealer. I didn't know that tech was so readily available for the Eastern Cape. And now because I'm a stoner, I know where to get kush. You know, like there'll never be a place where I can go and I don't get kush. But I didn't know that tech is so readily available. Nkare ureka kush as well. You know, so he goes. Alopanda tech. So I don't know if in his regular life this was something he indulged in, but yeah, by virtue of he knew where to go, you know, aya ko drug dealer ge a lo lata tick. So tick is like I could be wrong, please correct me. It's like what's this? It's like heroin, but a cheap form of heroin. And home base ya yona, I remember because I was so invested in learning about drugs and this whole syndicate that's happening. Yeah, just so as an FYI, yeah, everybody you think people that you think are not involved in this drug syndicate are definitely involved in the drug syndicate. Don't blame it solely on the people from that other country. It's not them. Yeah, they're a little bit of a fraction there. Mara le batho ba molao ba teng in this whole. It's a syndicate. It's a syndicate. Batho ba molao, government people. Like it's big. It's huge. Church people. It's huge. Anyway, so he goes. So KK heroin. It's a form of heroin, and I know Cape Town nearly home base that thing, right? Anyway, let's come back. So Alothola Liteguta Atole is being so that he's got courage now to be able to do this next deed that he's about to do. You know, clearly I shoki alcohol, I shoki ing. And yeah, I think I'm gonna read up a little bit on this one when we do our other episodes on my other space day. Anyway, so he follows the instruction and he dismembers this poor girl, dismembers her, but the only thing that he keeps by him are the hands, the head, right? So he stuffs her body parts in a suitcase. Hence, in other cases, it's called, to not be confused with the overseas suitcase killer, but the suitcase murder. The case of the suitcase. So it's a travel bag. So, and I'm not gonna share those images because I still want us to retain dignity of the unalive, because I'm seeing there's a huge media trend where black bodies are not respected even when you're dead. So I'm not gonna share those images, but if you're gonna go traumatize yourself, please go. And I don't know why this also made it to newspapers and the internet. Where's the dignity of the deceased? I do apologize. My battery died. And this is now the third attempt I'm doing with this case here. I don't know what this is gonna shift, but this is the third time. The first time my mic died, so there was no audio. But in continuation, I will try pick up from where the camera died or the memory got full. But yeah, let us try just to come back to the same space here. But anyway, so he got tick from the local dealer, he got incense from a local store as well, just to deal with the smell. I don't know what the smell of a body smells like, but yeah, it was clearly starting to decompose. And DG tools from the local hardware store, and go hardware store Euge. Um, he got to another source that I clearly think he was looking for. Anyway, so he goes, he takes these drugs, and he goes Gawekre, and he dismembers her. And maybe he also saw the case of the suitcase killer, but this is an overseas case, and maybe followed suit from then. We don't know, but he thought it was a great idea, I guess, at that moment. And then Abamo dismembered her and then stuffed her in her own suitcase. So it was a travel bag of some sort. Excuse me, on the travel bag, and left it. And now this is the 18th, right? This is the 18th more I collect the tools and he goes to work. He the 18th. So now by the AM at the 19th of August in 2021, this is when this body was found now. So where he dumped, so listen to this self-preserving person here. So he goes and dumps this body now on the corner of Fleet and Fitzgerald. And those who know Quigney, they know this is the part of Quigney where the SEX workers would be. So he wanted to make it look like, no, this was just some SEX workers. And I don't know why. Also, there's this huge disrespect of the people that do this work. You know, you want their service, but you're disrespectful of them, and you don't see them as human beings at that moment. You know, so he wanted to make it look like Kubilele client engwe that unalived this person just because they were an SEX worker. You know, so the disrespect goes that deep. And you know, anyway, so there's different reports, but I think this is the sequence of events that happened. So probably a homeless man found the suitcase, and because it was in good condition, you know, and but they do pick up these things, you know, to try and make ends meet, or whatever it is. But so I think it was found by a homeless man, and then I don't know, there was probably commotion, or he got freaked out because now in the official reports it says that two schoolgirls were there discussing about how, oh my God, what a sick place Quigney is, or that place of or that part of Quigney, how sick it is. And when they were lamenting, the motorist passes by, a 36-year-old man, and he asks these girls, "Well, okay, what's up? What's happening here?" And then they relay the story. That's when this man calls the police. And I don't know if it was an outfit that she was wearing, because clearly her face was not there. But people are able to recognize Hogan, because now from that point they went to led them to the commune where this couple was residing in. And the eyewitness di bone this man at 5 a.m. abo atswa le thoto ena. So luckily they find him there ka Swartsaka refuse bag, right? And in this refuse bag, excuse me, I don't know what's happening. In the refuse bag, it's the rest of Nostrello's body. This is now where they find her head and her hands. Her hands, my gosh, I'm so sorry. May I need water? They find her hands go this in the plastic bag. So I don't know if it was ritualistic or Namete round two to go dispose these things, or he wanted to look at We don't know. I don't know the psychology behind it. There's no reports. He didn't say much. They didn't ask him, why did you retain the rest of her being? Why didn't, because maybe it didn't fit in the suitcase. Maybe not we dispose of the next day. I do not know, and I do not know the energy behind it. But I know it was a prominent drug. It's on Cape Town, and yeah, I don't know behavior about how hectic, but it is a form of heroin. Anyway, so these facts that we know here, this is blow by blow accounts that he's giving. Probably nabatla go itatolola, reasoning I unalived her because she was cheating. And I want to re-emphasize again, walk away, walk away, walk away. You do not have a right to unalive anybody or beat up anybody just because they cheated on you. And unfortunately, most of us are not immune to being cheated on. This is where you need to raise your level of self, your level of self-respect. Okay, this is something that this is my deal breaker, and I'm walking away from such things, or whatever it is. Like let somebody figure out what it is that they want. Anyway, I think I said this earlier on. I'm not too sure what got missed and what didn't. But anyway, and initially he declined bail. He declined bail, declined legal representation, and to be honest, there was nothing that he couldn't plead not guilty because you were found with these things in your possession. So I don't know if there was a loophole, if there was an escape hole for him. Was he going to take that escape hole now? But he confessed, under a lawyer because he changed his mind later on. I don't know, he does want legal representation. And yeah, in this case here, yeah, there's two families that are hurt and hurt in different magnitudes, because Ms. Pumlile, that's the perpetrator's mother, Linda Mandla, they have expressed in media, so they have used media and social media to speak of their apologies and deepest sorrows and regrets, and at whatever form, there's no right thing to do here. There's no right way or correct way to do it, but as they offered their apology to family and Nosicelo, they are so shocked as well because there's only so much that you can do for your child or with your child. Maybe parents are just portals to children to the world. Because most of our parents don't even know what we do behind the scenes. They don't know what we do at home. That's why I have issues with parents that say, "Nah, my child would never." I do have issues with those parents because all of us, our parents, there's things that your parents are not privy to, or your life outside of them that they're not privy to. But anyway, so the trial goes on. It was really quick trial and Raleboga for the activism that happened here. And I don't know if I said this before the camera cut, but during memorial service, there's a line there's a quote that she once made, our Queen Nosicelo. She said, "If you have a vagina and are living in South Africa, make sure that you're armed. Make sure that you have either a knife or or pepper spray in order to not be the next victim of RAPE." Not knowing that actually there was the other angle that she might be a victim too. She did not, on her wildest day, that this person that I'm saying I love you to, this person that I'm sharing my energy and a bed with, is gonna be the one that ends my life. So she didn't think that her GBV case is gonna be an unaliving case, but unfortunately and sadly it became one of those. And yeah, man, and I don't know how many candles we're going to be lighting in these cases. I don't know how many times I'm going to wear this duke to be reporting on such things. I really do not know, and I really hope this, I don't know what kind of activism we need to do. But she had a send off by Fort Hare. They also donated to the family because, like I said, I did denote her. She was literally going to be the one that helps them escape this poverty that they're in. But anyway, excuse me. But anyway, she was laid to rest on the 3rd of September, go her ancestral burial site. And yes, she was joined with her ancestors. And this case, he was sentenced, Alutha was sentenced on the 2nd of December in 2021. And the charges were murder. And he got 25 years, got sentenced 25 years for that murder, and got a further 10 years for defeating the ends of justice because you dismembered a body and you tried hiding the evidence in that. But these counts are going to run concurrently. So he'll probably be out in about 14 or eligible for parole in 14.5 years, but or 14 years, 12.5, but yeah, maybe we got 14 years. We don't know, and I don't know what action needs to be taken going forward, because clearly nothing is a deterrent anymore. But that is all I have for the case of Nosicelo Mtebeni, who sadly lost their lives at a young age of 23 when they're about to begin the year. And a lot of people are lamenting how Nerko graduated this person on the April of 2022. But may you continue resting in peace. May you rise in power. May your family find comfort. And also for Alutha's family, may you find peace and rest eventually, And I think, yeah, the Askista Bona, and I don't know, but yeah, they have a chance to go see their kids, but the parents are also in quite disbelief. The family's in disbelief. The people, the community's in disbelief that, what a heinous crime. But yes, this is all I have. Please stay safe. Please, yeah, notice the red flags. Don't make them yellow or orange or whatever it is. Please take care of yourselves. And man, please don't unalive people. Let's not be entitled to each other. Let us raise love. Let us raise love of ourselves so that we don't become victims or perpetrators of these things. Peace and take care of yourself. Stay safe.